So we've established 5 main characters of the series so far: Jasmine, Phineas, Ferb, Isabella, and Ruff. But there's one more. This is Harriet Fletcher, daughter of Lawrence Fletcher and Elizabeth Harris, and Ferb's full-blood sister. She lives with her mother Elizabeth in London. Elizabeth is a wealthy businesswoman, probably a financial analyst or a board member or something like that, who's made a point about being an independent woman raising a daughter on her own. I just want to preface this video by saying I have never seen The Parent Trap in my life, and I am watching it for the first time right now. So if you see any parallels in the story you're about to hear, they were completely unintentional, but I'm completely okay with it. So when Harriet's 12, they go on holiday to Danville. Their rental car breaks down in the suburbs, and they're directed to the home of Phineas Flynn, a local mechanical prodigy. When they arrive at the house, Harriet notices the mailbox is labeled Flynn Fletcher, and her mom is quick to talk her down from her excitement. See, Harriet has never had a father. She's never had any sort of male figure in her life. Her mom has been single as long as she can remember. So when she found her birth certificate in a box in the back of her mom's closet, the search for her father had begun. Elizabeth would never give her any information, adamant that she did not need a father, but Harriet was relentless. She finds her mother's diary that she kept while dating her father and learned a lot about him, but the pages just end after becoming pregnant, so there's no way for Harriet to know where he is now. So they're on the Flynn Fletcher doorstep, and Harriet's waiting on the sidewalk. Elizabeth knocks on the door and starts explaining the situation as soon as the door opens. She trails off mid-sentence when she looks up from her talking business and sees her ex-husband staring back at her in shock. Lizzie? Lawrence? Lawrence? Harriet runs up the steps to get a better look. The two, meet eyes for the first time. There is no doubt in either of their minds that this is her father. Literally, in designing Harriet, her color palette is a 1-to-1 match with Lawrence. That's how I did it. So Lawrence, being the kind British gentleman that he is, invites them in for tea. He kind of has the understanding after, listening to their problem that she didn't show up for him. But then Phineas and Ferb come in the room, and Lawrence has to explain that, hey, Ferb, my boy, this is your mom and your sister. Phineas is all about it. Ferb is extremely confused. And then Linda comes in and she drags Lawrence out. She's like, what the fuck is your ex-wife doing here? I thought she was completely out of your life, which she was. And Lawrence just has to explain, no, their car broke down. They need Phineas and Ferb to fix it. It's okay. But just Linda, my gal, she is pissed. But she also, tries to keep, the understanding at the forefront that, okay, this isn't bad for me, but she's worried about it. Harriet kind of, follows Phineas and Ferb outside, and she's, getting to know them. And Phineas is really nice, and Ferb is, kind of distant, but he's trying. He still, doesn't get why this is happening to him now. Phineas and Ferb are 14 and 15. I don't think I said that at the beginning, but they are 14 and 15, and Harriet is 12. So this is a few years after the events of the show. And a couple years after they meet Jasmine. So the timeline for this isn't, completely set in stone yet, but basically, Harriet shows them the diary and how she was, doing all this searching for her father over a number of years. And she's confused as to why the pages just end. She doesn't understand how her mom and her dad just separated like that. She also had no idea she had a brother, because the pages end when Elizabeth gets pregnant and it doesn't specify. Phineas checks out the book, he's like, are you sure that's all the pages? And he notices, a little flap in, the corner of the back cover. And so Harriet takes it and she pulls it open and all these pages come flying out. Just, a ton of different pages, and she's, picking them up and she's reading words like, I failed, traitor, cheated, stuff like that. And she is super confused, but they, piece the pages back together and they figure out what happened. Elizabeth had, stopped writing in the diary for a few years, but she picked it back up again. Lizzie is just writing about, how bad she feels that she fucked up. She's like, I can't believe I did this. This is awful. I feel so bad for Lawrence and for Ferb. Lawrence finds out that Elizabeth has been cheating on him, and it's only, a month or 2 months after they find out that she's pregnant a second time. She's cheating while pregnant with Harriet. That's the fucked up part about this. And Harriet finds out about it through these diary pages. So, Elizabeth and Lawrence, got a divorce, and basically Lawrence took Ferb because Lizzie was pregnant with Harriet. And I don't know how they came to that conclusion, but that's the conclusion that they came to. So Lizzie was like, I can do all of this by myself. I don't need you. I got this. And so she's raising a kid and being a successful financial businesswoman. Harriet is like pissed when she finds out about this. She's like, Mom, how could you at least not tell me about this? I actually have a blurb for this. Lizzie is like, "Okay, Harriet, it's time to leave. We are going to go back to our hotel and then we are going back to London." And Harriet's just like, "No, no, I'm going to stay here with my dad and my brother because 2 days is not nearly enough time. Imagine meeting your father at age 12. 12, after you were never allowed to have any information about him or where he is. Imagine learning that you have a brother at age 12. Like, a couple days isn't nearly enough time for that." And Ferb trying to be like the peacemaker despite being a little fucked up about this himself. He's like, all right, she gets the point. Oh, but most importantly, imagine being the mother of a girl who just wants to know where her father is, but doesn't have the wits to tell her that she caused him to leave. And that just, like, tears apart their relationship instantly. Elizabeth is like, okay, fine. If that's how you feel, I'm gonna go by myself. You stay. I don't care. I don't need you. I don't need anyone. And then she leaves. And Harriet, whose natural hot-headedness comes from her mom, is like, now that that's settled, all right, guys, let's be one big happy family. But you can tell she is, like, really unhappy. Something, I haven't worked all the details yet, but they reconcile, and Elizabeth's like, okay, you do deserve to spend some time with your father, so if you would like to, I will allow it. And that's how Harriet is living with Phineas and Ferb now. And they take her, she, like, meets Jasmine, and, like, everything's cool. And yeah, so she's basically, like, integrated into the group now because she just, like, wants to know everything about them. And that's just, like, the baseline meeting Harriet. We learn a lot more about Harriet's personality in Dreams of Magic, and, like, how her relationship with Ferb and with Phineas is gonna grow. So, yeah, with that out of the way, I think we can finally start Dreams of Magic. As long as that made enough sense. I'm thinking about, like, writing the full story into, like a fanfic on AO3, because although it is canon to PFJ, like the Wildcrats backstory, it does work as a standalone. But that's, like, the one story that has, like, the least development, which is really unfortunate because she is a core character. So maybe I'll do that. If I do that, I'll let you know. That's all I got.